The Tank X from 8849 is the best projector phone in the world. This thing continues to be the Swiss Army knife of smartphones. It's a bold claim and I haven't heard anyone else say it, partially because very few people know about it, but as you will see, it's easy to prove. In fact, it's so powerful, they had to tone down the projector in the software. In this channel, I reviewed the Tank 3 Pro and the Tank 4, but the Tank X is the one that I'm excited about the most. I spent some time messing around with it, and I'll share my thoughts in this video. Stick around. Quick disclaimer, I paid the full price for the phone myself, but I did get in touch with 8849 to ask a few questions, and they did respond. Out of the box, you get the phone, along with a 120-watt charging brick and a USB-C to USB-C cable. On the physical side, it's a very busy phone with an unmistakable look. The first thing you notice is the size, of course. This is back to being a chunky phone, and the heaviest phone 8849 has ever produced at a whopping 750 grams, which is 10% heavier than the heaviest phone they ever made, the Tank 3 Pro. Most of the weight comes from the battery, which is a 2-cell battery with a combined capacity of 17,600 mAh that can charge in just 70 minutes. With the Tank 4 and the Tank 4 Pro, 8849 seemed to lean towards thinner phones as they reduced the thickness and battery, which was a really welcome change in my opinion. But on the Tank X, they moved back towards bigger batteries, and according to 8849, it's because of the feedback they got on the Tank 4 and Tank 4 Pro. But I think it's also because of the size of the DLP projector. If you had the chance to check the previous models, it's easy to notice that the vents have gotten noticeably bigger on the Tank X. Personally, I do hope that they move back towards thinner phones in the Tank X Pro if they ever planned on releasing one. I actually did ask them, but they didn't confirm nor deny the release of the Pro version. I certainly hope they do. Now, because the projector generates a lot of heat and the vents have gotten bigger, they had to move the power button a little bit down on the right-hand side. On the other side, they have a total of 4 buttons, 2 volume and 2 fully customizable buttons of up to 3 functions each. You've got a headphone jack next to the USB-C port. The screen is an LCD screen that gets up to 750 nits, which is respectable and viewable under direct sunlight and refreshes at 120 Hz. The front camera is a 15 megapixel shooter and it takes decent photos. On the back, you have the camping light, siren style lights, 2 cameras, a wide angle and a 3x telephoto, and finally on top, you have the projector with the laser autofocus, an IR blaster, and a SIM tray with an SD card slot. It's also an IP69K certified, and the whole thing is powered by an upper mid-range chip from MediaTek, the Dimensity 8200, which performs well for multitasking and daily use and can do well at certain games, but struggles with graphic-intensive games. I've heard complaints about haptics, but I found them to be perfectly okay. I'll have the full specs on screen if you want to read through them. Now, I know you want to see how the projector performs, so let's test it right away and have as much footage as we can from here until the end of the video while I ramble about other things. I took it to my bedroom, which provides ideal conditions for a projector. I paired it with a Bluetooth speaker and set it up about 3 meters away from the wall. The ideal projection distance is between 1.5 to 2 meters, but frankly, it's a bit impractical as it would mean setting it up in the middle of my bed, so I set it up on top of my headboard with this contraption here. You need to make sure that the projector is calibrated by going to the settings, projector, then projection focus adjustment, move about 1 meter away from the projected screen, and use the minus and plus signs to adjust focus, and then click sure. And man, the difference between the Tank X and the Tank 4 is immediately obvious. It's a 1080p versus 720p in the previous model, with more than double the brightness from 100 to 220 lumens. Despite the distance from the wall, the picture is absolutely amazing. I've actually had projectors that didn't perform as good as this one. You will notice the pixels if you go look for them, but they almost disappear when projected at the recommended distance. I did use my Bluetooth speakers because the fan on this thing is loud. And despite the phone having two speakers, it struggles to drown the noise coming from the fan. So I would say if you wish to watch a movie, a Bluetooth headset or speakers are a must, but in a pinch, they will still do the job. You have an echo mode that lowers the brightness to extend the battery life, and it happens to also fix the fan noise. Under the full load and max settings, however, you can get up to 6 hours of watch time, which is just ridiculous, and you probably wouldn't even need that echo mode. And yes, the screen does turn off if you wanted to. I wasn't exaggerating when I said they toned it down. 8849 told me that the projector is capable of going to a ridiculous 300 lumens of brightness, but they kept it at 220 because it generates a lot of heat. One neat thing about this projector is that it can also be used as a flashlight. Just make sure you don't point it at someone's face. It's a DLP projector and it can hurt them. The only thing this phone is missing is probably an HDMI input, so you can use the powerful projector with other devices. Maybe that's a feature for the next generation. They have done it on the 8849 Mars, so it's not far-fetched. Software-wise, it runs on an Android 15 with an almost stock Android experience. You have some pre-installed apps, but barely any bloatware. The main thing to point out is the toolbox, which gives you access to a few more cool apps and tools. The cameras are okay, and I would give them about a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. It's the same hardware from the previous model. They made a good choice with the wide and 3x telephoto combo. There's an infrared light on the back, which means you can use the wide angle lens as a true night vision camera. Here's some random items in complete darkness. Let me know if you can tell what they are. So what's the verdict on this phone? Well, I'm really happy with how consistent 8849 with their releases, as well as how consistent they are with improvements. They don't just keep introducing the same feature over and over again with a new name and twist, but they actually improve on the technology by trying new things and pushing the boundaries. The projector started at 480p, then 720p, and now 1080p. The focus started with a manual wheel and moved to laser autofocus. They started with the big battery, then they shrunk it down and now bumped it up again. The screen started with an LCD and then they have used an AMOLED in some of their Pro models. Even the certification went from an IP69 in some older models to IP69K. My only complaint is the size and the weight. It's not a one-handed phone. It doesn't matter how strong or big you are, this phone cannot be used one-handed for more than a few minutes at a time. The Tank 4 addressed this issue and it was somewhat usable one-handed, but the added weight, in my opinion, does not do the phone any favors. If this phone was 200 to 300 grams lighter and half the size that it is right now with an AMOLED screen, it would have been an absolute game changer. But as it is, it will remain an enthusiast phone designed for a specific set of scenarios and difficult to recommend for daily use, unless you love to hike or travel a lot or just want to turn heads and whip out a projector during a business meeting to share some slides. At the time of posting the video, the phone retails for about $550. I'll have links from the official stores in the description with some discount codes if you want to take a look. There are affiliate links, so by clicking on them, you also help the channel without any additional cost to yourself. With that said, I'm really excited to spend some more time with it, and I can't wait to see what 8849 has in the bag for us. Make sure you subscribe if you want to keep an eye on interesting technology. And if you have any questions about this product, feel free to drop them in the comments. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.